Story 1. Am I the a-hole for firing my brother after he proposed at my wedding? So, a bit of a background. I own a plumbing company and hired my brother 3 years ago. He was jobless after the pandemic, and I offered for him to come work for me. He was 22 at the time and is now looking to become a master plumber and start his own business. At my wedding, which he was the best man, he decided that during his speech he would give us all a big surprise and decided to propose to his longtime girlfriend. My wife and I were appalled. We both feel like he stole the shine from our day. Everyone else in our families were so excited and kept taking pictures with her, looking at the ring, etc. I decided to fire him the very next day. He still doesn't understand why. He claims I'm being selfish and irrational, and our parents agree. They're saying that business should be separate from our personal lives. But I just can't overlook what he did and how he ruined our day. Am I overthinking this? Edit. I should have mentioned this, but he will be getting severance. He's still my brother, and I wouldn't let him lose his home over this. But as a small business, I can't imagine seeing him every day at work. Not now, at least. Not only are you the a-hole, but that's also pretty illegal. I'm pretty sure he would have a case if he brought this up before a job board. What he did was very much wrong. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have taken away from your day. Obviously. But this feels like retaliation. And this, retaliation against something that has nothing to do with the business. This guy needs to either grin and bear it, or he needed to confront the brother outside of work and tell him how he felt. Did they do that? Does it say that anywhere in the story? I can't see. But it should have happened outside of work. As much as you hate it, this was the wrong move. What do you think? Story 2. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen, goes both ways. My new manager at work is one of those people that absolutely has to be in control. Even when you're exceeding every scorecard measure, keeping your head down, not putting a toe out of line, she still asks you to come to a meeting to discuss some minor issue or another. Recently, she pulled me into a meeting to discuss me being late for work. Protocol is to call in, say we'll be late, then submit a schedule adjustment request when we arrive. She accused me of not calling in or submitting a request, but I was able to prove I did. Only instead of leaving it at that, she insisted I now needed to call her and explain why I was late. That's not the process. I told her, and she said she was making a new one. So now I call her at 6 a.m. on her day off to let her know I'm going to be late. She also had a meeting with me because my scorecard for a stat was 99 out of 100, with a target of 50. She had to point out the 1 out of 100 I missed. She also did the same for a handling time issue where I'm hitting an average of 600 seconds with a target of 1,500. She needed to tell me about a call I took too long on. Suffice to say, complaints have been raised to her manager. Following an incident where she was asked to follow up on something for me, and claimed if it's not in writing it didn't happen, I've been asking for everything in writing and repeat that mantra back to her when she claims to have told me something. Last week, she asked me to see her after my call. I walked over, and she wasn't there. So went back to my desk. She asked me why I didn't stay around, and I reminded her of the time she put in writing that I wasn't to spend more than 1 minute waiting for her if she asked to see me and was to go back to my desk to take calls, not wasting time. She asked me to come over again, and when I did, she wasn't there. This repeated twice more before my shift was over. Each time I documented, logged out at 14:35 p.m., came to your desk, you were not there, spent 45 seconds waiting, returned to my desk and took another call at 14:38 p.m. in chat. She messages me to ask what time I finish. I tell her it was 2 minutes prior, and she says we can catch up now. I tell her that my shift is over and ask if she'll approve an overtime pay for an out-of-hours meeting. She tells me not to be silly and it'll just take 10 minutes. I refuse and say if I don't get paid, we can do it tomorrow when I am being paid. She's typing, then not, then typing, then not, choosing her words. I know she's angry at being challenged, and she decided to employ one of the tactics she used when she managed a team for a company where this was a standard practice. Okay, well, if you'd like to go home now, I can always make it a formal meeting. A formal meeting where I work is code for a meeting with HR, documented on your record for misconduct and repeated issues. She thinks she's won. Not a problem. Make a formal meeting. Ensure I have 24 hours notice, send a formal invite, and I will bring a support person with me. I log out and leave, but not before grabbing screenshots and saving a copy of the chat logs. Next day, she called my bluff and had a meeting scheduled. I send it to my union rep, and she comes in on the day. HR sits down with us and opens with, "So we're here today to discuss some concerns. Your team leader asked you to attend an off-the-cuff catch-up 3 times, and for some reason you refused?" I quickly clarify what actually happened. My manager claims otherwise, and I repeat her mantra, if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. Then I supply the receipts. Her demands to put things in writing, her chat, my timestamps, my call logs, and her message to me afterwards. My union rep stares at the two of them with a small smile and asks, "So do you maintain the position that employees should attend meetings unpaid and that misconduct investigations are a good use of resources if they refuse?" HR said there may have been a miscommunication and that I could return to work. I have it put in writing that I am not accused of any misconduct and have been cleared of any false accusations with nothing documented on my staff file. Yesterday, my team was advised that our team leader had decided to pursue opportunities outside of the company, and we were getting a new manager. The manager tried to be a boss and failed. Just did everything the wrong way. I was really afraid that this employee was going to get the shaft from HR, even though they had everything documented. But as soon as they said union rep, nope, they were in for it. It's just a reason why at work, document everything you can. Keep the receipts. Because many times HR is not going to be your friend. They weren't going to be the employee's friend in this instance until they had the receipts and a union rep ready to clap back.
Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 3. I signed my ex-boyfriend up for the Church of Scientology. I saw that it was a funny trend to sign people up for random email lists and spam them, but I decided to take this a step further because he really burnt me in the past. I went to our local Church of Scientology's website and saw where you could input your personal information to receive messages from the church. Since I had most of this information from our time being together, I filled it out under his name. I did this with a few more churches of Scientology as well. I thought that this would be only a minor inconvenience with a few puzzling, harmless emails, but it turned out to be much worse. Recently, I saw that he posted on his Instagram that he was deleting all of his social media due to privacy reasons. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after a while, I started to wonder if there was any connection to what I had put in the Church of Scientology's website. So, out of curiosity, I later decided to bite the bullet and DM him on Instagram in the hopes that he hadn't deactivated his account. A few minutes later, he responded, saying that he needed a break from social media. Ultimately, he told me not to worry about it and that he was going to delete his Instagram 10,000 followers later that night. I figured I was off the hook. A few weeks later, I was with a mutual friend of ours, and she updated me on his situation. Apparently, he and his family had been contacted by the Church of Scientology. Supposedly, they actually expressed interest. The mutual friend said that she hadn't seen him in a while, and none of his friends had heard from him in over a month. She said that it seemed like he was cutting off everybody. I just received word that he's dropping out of school after the semester ends, and his family is moving to live with other church members. I know I technically signed him up for this, but I had no idea it would get this bad. He honestly deserved it after everything he did. I can't exactly state what he did and caution that this post would get removed. Just know that it was pretty fracked up, and me and a friend of mine had to see a therapist. I don't know. I mean, all right, let's say that what this person did was really that bad. Now, if you're going to take revenge by signing up for something invasive for him, yeah, I can understand that. But now it's involving his family. Don't know anything about the family. Maybe they had nothing to do with this. Might be just a little bit over the line. Maybe not by much. I would like to know what he did out of knowing the information needed to kind of make a judgment call on this. What do you think? Story 4. I don't love my wife, and I resent that I have to care for her, but I'll probably never leave her. She was my high school sweetheart, the love of my life, my soulmate. When she suffered a brain injury and fell into a coma, I had no idea whether she would ever wake up again. When she did, she was severely disabled, and she was a different person. I hoped her old personality would come back with time and therapy, but it's been 5 years since she woke up, and I think this is just what she's like now. She's not a bad person. She's just not the woman I fell in love with. I'm expected to be grateful that I got my wife back, but the truth is, my wife expired the day she was injured. I hoped I would be able to fall in love with this new person, but you can't just force yourself to fall in love with someone. So I resent her. I know it isn't her fault. It's not fair that I feel this way towards her, but I resent this new woman for taking my wife away and for the fact that I have to take care of her. I can't leave her. She has no one else to care for her. And she still has my wife's voice, her laugh, her smile. I couldn't bear to lose those. They're all I have left of the woman I love. So I pretend. I pretend I don't notice that she's a completely new person. I pretend I still love her. I pretend I don't resent her. I care for her. I've accepted that this is my life now. That's awful, to be in a situation where you feel trapped. And it's very commendable that this person is still caring for this person who probably needs help after this very serious injury. He had talked about there being therapy before. It sounds like it would benefit him if he went to therapy himself to go over these kinds of feelings that he has, and maybe eventually bring this person in as well for this therapy to kind of bring some honesty into letting her know about how he feels about this situation. People in relationships are going to change. People change over time. Well, people in and out of relationships. People change over time. This just seems to be a very severe shift. Again, I really think therapy or talking to someone is the way to go. So you can eventually be open with your wife about this.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.